Morning, everybody. So today we have an Alexander Nevsky replay, and Louis sent us in over the weekend while I was recovering from staying up until 3 a.m. on clan battles. So for those that missed the stream, did an impromptu 1.5 hour live stream of a few clan battles. Anyway, all right, Nevsky. So the Russian cruiser line split happened during this year. Between a light and a heavy cruiser line, similar to the Americans, where you had the Moskva as the sole tier 10 Russian cruiser. That line had split up, and we got the Talon at tier 8 as the heavy cruiser, Riga as tier 9. You still have the DM Donskoy as the light tier 9 cruiser, and then the Moskva got made a premium, which is pretty cool. And then you have the Alexander Nevsky as the tier 10 light cruiser. And then obviously the Petropavlovsk, which you saw me play during the clan battles, as the tier 10 heavy cruiser. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Alexander Nevsky, and hence I've actually never really featured it. But Louis had a pretty good match, and he said to me, look, so it's a fairly decent match. But one funny thing happened, so have a look at it and see if you want to feature it. As we see, the CV has already taken a interest in him, playing against the Manfred van Richthofen. He's losing planes. And Louise is shot down 5, and he's with Looney Paul from THG in his Worcester, so a nice division of light cruisers. The Worcester obviously being the light cruiser tier 10 from the American tree line, and the Des Moines is the heavy cruiser from the American tier 10 line. Now, unlike the Petropavlovsk, it is viable to shoot HE in the Alexander Nevsky, and as you can see there, they are shooting HE at a Petropavlovsk. The Petropavlovsk's bow armor being so horribly tough that the only way to deal with that thing is to spam it with HE. So that Petro is on fire again. Luckily, being a cruiser, it'll only burn for about 30 seconds, but HE damage, it's HE damage. And it's not a Conqueror, so it will not heal that easily. I need intelligence data. So one of the players there asking, I need intelligence data, and with only 2 DDs in this match, it's up to the CV to actually go and spot that. We can see the friendly Holland is up in A, and the Shimakaze is sort of between B and C. Shima isn't pushing B. And there's a Montana coming in. And that Montana is now finding himself getting HE spammed by a Worcester, another Montana, which is firing HE, okay. And obviously Louise needs Alexander Nevsky there. The nice thing of the Nevsky versus the Worcester, as you can see, the shell arcs are significantly better. Unfortunately, enemy Hindenburg takes out the friendly Montana for the first blood of the match. Walls of skill coming in, and the Shimakaze eats some. Very unfortunate. And we can see it's a Holland. The Holland torps, tickle torps, unless you're in a fellow destroyer. Then they will hurt. So the Shima has launched a wall of skill there, and obviously the Shimakaze torps, should they hit, are a hell of a lot harder hitting. And we can see Louise is using his flat gun arcs and very good fire rate to great effect on this enemy Holland, who is now trying to avoid all the Shimakaze torps as well as the wall of shells coming at him. Enemy Holland has successfully gone dark, and a bit of a stalemate happening here. Now, unfortunately, Louise's team has lost both A and C cap, with only B cap being uncontested. Their destroyers were a little bit more aggressive.
I need your support. I need intelligence data.
And Louise is kind of clicking on the Grosser-Kurfürst, asking, listen, what are you doing at the back there? You're not a backline ship. And having recently got the Grosser-Kurfürst, I can attest to that. It has insane secondaries. It is a pretty good tank. Not a bad ship at all.
Capture that area. I need intelligence.
Louise spots the Yamato. And him, the Conqueror. And pretty much everybody else in range will now start opening up on this Conqueror. On this Yamato. Louise sets a fire, and you can be 100% guaranteed that Conqueror is going to set 1 or 2 fires on that Yamato and make his life a bit miserable. Louise has to angle as those Yamato shells are incoming. They can really put the hurt on the Alexander Nevsky. And he sets another fire. And that Yamato, having damage control the previous 2 fires, is now burning for at least about a minute. You can see the friendly Holland is up in A. He's managing to capture A. And they're trying to stop the Yamato. And yeah, it's pretty much this Yamato capturing B. So they're trying to stop him. Enemy maneuvered from Richthofen sends his planes into a cluster of ships, including a Worcester, the excellent AA, and of course not a single plane of the squadron survived.
All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
For Yamato here, he is doing the best that he can, sort of bow angling in. Oof, and Louise is very lucky to get a bunch of overpens there. Enemy Holland has wandered a little bit too close. Louise fires off his radar. It's a short duration, 30-second radar. Well, not as short as the Petros, but it's still short. And he is now making the Holland regret his life choices. Now, of course, the booster is also shooting at him, so it is a lot of shells coming at the Holland there. Oof. Louise takes a bunch of shells there. Managed to get 2 fires on that Holland, and Holland has damage controlled it, so if he breaks anything more... Oh... And he just got robbed of that Holland kill.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
There's another enemy Yamato down there. And he looks full health. Would be a pity if somebody did something about that. So the enemy team is up at 661 points versus 300 points. Louise's team is the only loss of the game so far. Louise is radared. Then gets the Petropavlos, that was close here. But there's a Hindenburg, a Holland, and an Ohio coming down from the other side of the islands, trying to sort of pincer the red team here. Enemy Holland floods out the Grosser-Kurfürst, and that takes Louise's team up to 750 points lost versus only 270 points gained. And it was this age when I looked at the match that I was thinking to myself, why did Louise send me this replay? But then Friendly Hindenburg takes out the enemy Harugumo. Midway pops the enemy Yamato. Ohio kills the enemy Montana in quick succession. And suddenly, Louise's team is up. Nearly 400 points versus 600 points for the enemies. The Ohio is also going into B to contest the cap circle, so there will be no points gain on either side. And this Holland is being super ballsy here. He wants that Shimakaze dead. Unfortunately, the Yamato pops him, but his last shells took out the Shimakaze. Louise's team is now the only team with the DD left. It's Holland coming down. Unfortunately, enemy Thunder takes out the friendly Yamato. Both teams have got 4 kills each. Enemy team is slowly gaining on points again. They're at 670 versus 560 of Louise's team. Ohio manages to kill the Hindenburg. But Louise's team is now pushing down from A cap into B cap, trying to force a play here. Now this little gap on the islands are usually quite a nasty ambush position. There is that Petropavlovsk. Louise is watching, doing the thing with torpedo tubes to see where your torpedoes, to see if the enemy ship is moving forward or not. Oof, and that Yamato Citadel's Louise there takes pretty much half his health. And he has a fire on him now. But the Petropavlovsk is coming out. Oof. And he eats torpedo and a fire. And now everybody's going to be shooting at him. And then he eats another bunch of torpedoes. And by a stroke of luck, Louise's secondaries takes that last little health off the enemy Petropavlovsk, and he gets a close quarters expert. Well done, Louise. Didn't expect to see that. Alright, that made the match worth it. So even though Louise's team is now ahead on kills, they're still behind on points, and they are behind on cap circles. Enemy team is gaining 6 points for every 3 that Louise's team is getting. And it is important that a cap is secured now. It does look like the enemy Yamato is about to go down. Conqueror takes out the Yamato. Louise's team is at 540 points versus 640 of the enemy team. They do need to take the cap though. And look at that midway. That's a ballsy play from a CV player. He parked himself almost in the cap circle of B, so his planes doesn't have that much travel time. Louise is still being radared, and he's telling the enemy, the friendly team, that he wants to push the enemy booster. He loads AP, as you can see down there, and obviously the booster does not exactly have the best armor scheme. I think the enemy booster knows what's coming. Oof, Thunderer AP, 457s. Those are bad. Those are very, very bad. Enemy Thunderer takes out Looney Paul in the booster. Louise's team is still ahead on kills though, but enemy team has 760 points. Louise's team is luckily now contesting B, so it's 3 points gain per team, and it bought them a little bit of time.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
That poor enemy booster, he is trying to crawl into the island to get away from the onslaught that he knows is about to come. As you can see, the Holland there has launched torps at him. He will have hydroacoustics, But in order to move out and avoid that,
Enemy warship.
he has to turn broadside to Louise. Louise is firing AP, gets a whole bunch of over-penetrations
The enemy is about to win.
because of the boosters' armor being so thin. More overpens. Finally hits the Citadel.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
Enemy Holland gun, friendly Holland guns down the enemy Thunderer. The Ohio manages to secure the booster kill, and suddenly there's only 3 ships left on the enemy team. Oof. Louise eats a torpedo, but he manages to get multiple citadels on the Yoshino. And he kills the Yoshino with another citadel. The Yoshino has the same problem that the Azuma has. The citadel literally stretches from the antenna on the bow until about a meter behind the propeller wake, as I always joke. Louise uses the torpedoes to judge the speed of the Manfred von Richthofen, because it's only the Thunderer and the Richthofen left. Sets a fire, knows it's not going to stick due to the CV mechanic of only having fire burn for 3 seconds. But the Richthofen is fairly well armored from the front, so switches to HE instead of AP and starts working this Manfred von Richthofen. Now the Richthofen is obviously trying to get Louise to turn, discourage him, get his gun angles all messed up by attacking him. He's getting within torpedo range of the Nevsky, so Louise launches torpedoes. If he's got manual control of the CV, he might spot them, might turn, might give some broadside for citadels. Oof, but he just got slapped hard by somebody there. Come on, Louise, you can get the kill here.
Victory is in sight.
Yes! And Louise secures the Manfred von Richthofen kill.
Anti-aircraft gun crews are on full alert.
So Louise uses DFAA to get rid of this Manfred von Richthofen's last squad. Not that DFAA or any AA really makes a difference at the moment. And we all know that Wargaming thinks that AA is actually not broken and working perfectly fine. That Thunderer eats a wall of skill, and match is done. Now we look at the after stats. 174,000 damage, super impressive in the Nevsky. 3 kills, Confederate, and of course the funniest one, a close quarters expert. Louise, thanks for sending this one in. Fantastic, fantastic play, and hope everybody has a fantastic week. Take care. Cheers.